a rational alternative to the traditional trading floor? Yes. Not having one. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
Tylenol users discover a powerful name in aspirin-free pain relief.
It took away my headache. Aspirin-free Anacin worked as well as Tylenol.
Like Tylenol, aspirin-free Anacin is 100% aspirin-free acetaminophen, so it's gentle on your stomach.
Now I have a choice.
Let's add a few graphics.
I like that.
And if we add another color. At Pip Printing, we know it's not just another brochure or presentation. It's your business. Pip Printing. Give us a call. We'll show you why we're the biggest business printer in the world.
Welcome back. In Tokyo, Prime Minister Kiichi Miyazawa got into the America Bashing Act. In parliamentary debate over what's wrong with America, he declared, quote, "I have long felt that this might involve something like a lack of a work ethic," end quote. The reaction from Washington was sharp, both from administration officials and confirmed Japan bashers.
These insults must stop.
We don't need the Japanese lecturing us on what it takes to be a good American.
But a new comparison of the world's school children showed Americans below average in math and science. Margaret, is this just cheap Yankee bashing coming out of Tokyo, or is there some truth to what the Japanese are saying?
I think there's actually some truth to what Miyazawa was saying. Not that Americans don't have a work ethic. I think Americans are working very hard. They're just not working smart enough. But Miyazawa's other point was that the best and the brightest of American, really, management talent has been, for the last 15 years, going to Wall Street instead of going to manufacturing companies. And the average guy out of Harvard Business School was much more interested not in going to a machine tool company in Chicago and learning how to help them design and market those tools, rather to go to Wall Street and help break up that tool company, saddle it with debt, sell off the parts, make lots of money himself. The officers and directors made lots of money, did nothing to improve the productive capacity of the United States or that company. In fact, the parts of that company are less productive because they have huge debt. So though it may be very irritating to hear the Japanese lecture us about our business values, I think when they talk about management, they've got some points to make.
Got a good point, Bob.
Capitalism's hell, isn't it, Margaret? This is really...
Yeah, it really helps American business,
You really
Bob.
can't control. You know, the stupid treatment of all of this by the news media is really nauseating, and it's almost as bad as the political friends of Mark Shields. Let me tell you something.
Want to take that one?
Let me tell you something that Miyazawa said on the floor. He said there are many of the same elements present in what has been called Japan's bubble economy. He said both countries should build things of value with the sweat of our brows. Now, in the first place, that was not well reported. I really believe that all this mutual bashing between the two most important economic powers in the world is really leading toward a lot of trouble. And I think that the chief politicians on both sides who think Japan bashing is clever ought to knock it off. Secondly, I can excuse Miyazawa. Miyazawa is an older man. He thinks he can make a gear, and it's more important than being involved in investment banking. But you're young enough, Margaret, you should know better than that.
Frank, I think Miyazawa has a point, except it's been interpreted incorrectly. We do have a problem with work ethic, but not because Americans are lazy. They work harder than ever. There are more two-couple workers. There's more people with two jobs. But there's, as the journal reported this week, there's an alienation. In Japan, no companies lay off 74,000 workers. No companies summarily dismiss. They have a much better employer-employee relationship over there. Isn't that
Well, I think that's part of it. I think that maybe Miyazawa was talking about a problem that was worse a few years ago than it is now. I think that, and in part due to recession, that American business has improved its own productivity, has become more efficient, has improved some of the workers' skills, and they certainly are devoting a lot of attention to that. I happily agree, however, with Bob Novak, that if this name-calling campaign keeps up, no one is going to win. Japan is our second largest trading partner. Farmers aren't going to win. Machine tool people aren't going to win. No one is going to win by having us in a name-calling contest with the Japanese.
Should we put an end to this name-calling, Mark?
No, not at all. Japanese Labor Ministry came out today, Craig is absolutely right, with a study that revealed that American workers outproduce those of Japan, outproduce those of Germany, outproduce those of France and England. I think we're making great progress with Japanese. I mean, really, before they used to attack American blacks, Mexican Americans, and Puerto Rican Americans. Now they're attacking all Americans. I mean, I think, you know, they're an equal opportunity offender at this point. How to win friends and influence people know that. If the Japanese listen to you, they are in deep doo-doo, believe me.
On that uplifting note, I want to thank Craig Fuller for being with us tonight, and the gang will be back with the outrage of the week.
All our science, our technology, our mathematics, somehow they add up to moments beyond any calculation. What if you suddenly found that up to 50% of everything you own had vanished, gone to pay taxes? Fortunately for your family, there's Merrill Lynch estate planning and business succession services. So this is a nightmare that doesn't have to come true.
It's pure Las Vegas magic. Excalibur Hotel Casino, Las Vegas. All rooms $39 Sunday through Thursday. 7 marvelous restaurants. Non-stop entertainment. Phone 1-800-937-7777. Excalibur. It will take your breath away.
Sunday on CNN World Report, a country once flooded with trash and toxic residues. Can Argentina put a stop to collecting its neighbors' waste? Then Nigeria, considered by many nomad's land. This group finds the open road its home, getting an inside look at the Fulani nomad. And in Canada, it's survival of the fastest. Why car racing is much more than just a Sunday drive on CNN World Report, 3 p.m. Eastern Sunday.
And now for the outrage of the week. Mark and Margaret, as fellow Washingtonians, this week we welcome a new resident. Robert D. Novak moved in from the suburbs. What's the outrage, you might ask? Now, I'm not going to take cheap shots like what effect this move had on the average intelligence of both those communities. No, I'm for balance, and I worry that now that Bob has abandoned his country club suburban living, will he abandon his people? The greedy rich.
Oh.
Never.
That's very kind of you. I won't. I guarantee
Okay, we're going to monitor it, Bob.
It's outrage enough that the House voted an election year investigation of claims that Republicans delayed the Iranian hostage release in 1980. Democrats also used their clout to spring from jail South African arms dealer Dirk Francois Stoffberg. A grateful Mr. Stoffberg will testify about alleged conversations with William Casey, who is dead and so unable to reply.
The courts have imposed $1.3 billion in fines on savings and loans scam artists, but the government has collected only $20 million of that. That's just 1.5 cents on the dollar. The Justice Department's excuse is that it's too hard to keep track of all the court judgments and that most of the crooks don't have the money to pay them anyway. That's baloney. It's an outrage that some of these con men are still driving around in their Mercedes while the American taxpayers are shelling out billions to cover their crimes.
Good point. Former heavyweight boxing champion Mike Tyson is on trial in Indianapolis on rape charges. It is a serious criminal case. But some elements of the American press don't seem to understand that what is involved here. Let's have no more inappropriate boxing cliches in reporting this trial, like climbing into the ring or down for the count. And let's remember, this is not a story for the sports pages. It's a news story.
New York Times runs it on the sports page.
Well, the New York Times ought to be ashamed of itself. They get enough to be ashamed of. Max Franco is nothing but ashamed of the New York Times.
Well, you know, Margaret,
These are the press, I guess, in general.
those voters in New Hampshire, when they're aware of what you said tonight, I mean, seriously, you are an unemployed worker up there, someone afraid of your job, and you read that, and you read about these big budget deficits. That's just infuriating people.
Yeah.
Well, how about the guy Bill Walters? Remember Neil Bush's friend out at the Silverado? He's living like a Mexican general out in California.
Sure, they give the houses to their
Let
wives.
me ask you one question, Mark. Do you really approve of this political investigation by Congress springing a guy out of jail.
The way I felt about the House Un-American Activities Committee, Bob, which I know you fought against so many times, time and time again, Bob. You've been Mr. Civil Liberties on all of these things.
I asked you a straight question.
I don't know this guy Stockberg.
Well,
Is there anything to say?
Guys, I want to say for all of our viewers and AJ out there, this is Al Hunt saying good night for the Capital Gang.
You can catch Capital Gang next week at the same time. I'm Andrea Arsenault. Sports Saturday is coming up in a few moments on CNN Weekend. First, and here's a preview now from Dan Hicks. Good evening, Dan. What's going on?
Well, the Olympics are underway. We'll have a preview of the 16th Winter Olympics as they are underway in Albertville. The opening ceremonies, plus a little hockey was played as well today. Plus, college basketball. Duke was at LSU. The Blue Devils trying to hold on to that #1 ranking. Plus, we'll also preview NBA All-Star Weekend. That has tipped off. We've got a lot coming up on Sports Saturday.
Thanks, Dan. Looking forward to it. Mike Tyson testified today. He made it clear to a beauty contestant he wanted sex and did so by using a vulgar 4-letter word. At his rape trial, Tyson again insisted both he and his accuser agreed on, quote, what was going to happen at 2 in the morning. During 77 minutes of cross-examination, Tyson revealed some minor inconsistencies in his story, but failed to hand the prosecution any smoking gun. An Air Force Atlantis rocket will have to wait a little longer for liftoff. The rocket was scheduled to launch about an hour ago, but has been delayed by a mechanical problem. It's now scheduled to take off in about 10 minutes. In its payload, a $130 million Pentagon satellite. The launch was originally scheduled for Thursday, but was put off until today due to bad weather. For more on these stories at the top of the hour on Prime News, Sports Saturday is next, right after this.
Tuesday on A&E, a marriage in ruin.
Here's what you could do with your present.
Gets a second chance.
Jimmy. My dream, Dad!
When a long-lost father teaches his son a lesson in hope and forgiveness, General Motors Playwrights Theater presents Robert Loggia.
I want to have a little talk with you.
Patrick Dempsey.
Is there anything I can do?
Justine Bateman in Merry Christmas, Baby. Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 10 Pacific on A&E.
From across the nation they'll come for the 116th consecutive year. Over 2,500 dogs. It's their chance to play in the garden. Now, you may call them pampered pooches, but you're wrong. Each one is a hard-working champion, and they're ready to do battle, to strut their stuff, to show what sets them a breed apart. Because there can only be one best in show at the Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show on USA. February 10th and 11th, starting at 8/7 Central.
This is CNN.
CNN Sports Saturday lets the games begin. The 16th Winter Olympics begin in Albertville. We'll show you around the beautiful French Alps for the latest. Back in the States, Duke put its #1 ranking in the line in Baton Rouge with a Shack and Company who waited in ambush. And Kansas rode into Stillwater for a showdown with the Cowboys. We'll head to Indianapolis, where Mike Tyson was back on the stand, and to Orlando, where a magical NBA All-Star Weekend tipped off. It's all enough to blow your lid off.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Hannah Storm.
I'm Dan Hicks. Welcome to the show. We will get to those festivities at the 16th Winter Olympics. Also some great basketball in store today, but let's begin with Mike Tyson, who is back on the stand again today.
Indeed he was, and talking to some different folks today than he was yesterday after testifying on his own behalf for 90 minutes on Friday. Today, the former heavyweight champ was questioned by the prosecution at his rape trial. Tyson is accused of raping an 18-year-old beauty contestant in his Indianapolis hotel room on July 19th. Tyson admits to sexual relations with the woman, but claims it was consensual. Jeff Flock has the story of today's cross-examination in Indianapolis.
Mike, are you ready for Garrison?
Mike
Mike Tyson was ready for prosecutor Greg Garrison. His guard up, he was neither knocked out nor threw any knockout punches himself. But Tyson did open some eyes with details of his version of the morning of July 19th, 1991. Asked why he told his accuser to wear something loose to their date, Tyson said, "'Cause I